Hi everyone, my name is Puneet. I'm part of Informatica GC's team. In this session, we are going to learn how to run a complex file profiles in the CDQ product or the CDGC product. As the agenda, we are going to learn how to run a complex file profiles and the prerequisites in order to run the complex file profiles and how to configure the advanced clusters and the demo. In the current release, we support the complex file profiles only on the advanced clusters. If the current runtime where you're running your complex file profiles, if it is not associated to the advanced clusters, then you would be seeing this error on your session log that says the runtime environment is not associated with an advanced clusters. Choose a different runtime where you have advanced cluster associated. So now the reason for this is that the runtime, which is in the runtime, where you're running a complex files are not currently associated to any advanced clusters. To run any complex file profile in the current cloud release, it is possible only on the advanced mode. And for that, the runtime must be associated to one of the advanced clusters. So now there are 6 prerequisites in order to run an advanced mapping of the advanced profiles. So make sure the org has a below license if you are using a subscription-based org. So make sure like the CD Elastic Server, the CD Elastic Kubernetes, the CD Elastic Server Platform, the CD Elastic Server Spark. So these are the licenses which are currently available. Make sure these are the licenses are available on your org. And as a second point, check like whether on your ISS console administrative page, whether you have this advanced cluster options available. As a third step, make sure that like uh, uh, the security, a single secure agent placed to the agent group. As a fourth prerequisites, currently the advanced clusters are supported only the Linux operating systems. Make sure like the agent is installed and running on other Linux operating systems. The fifth prerequisites in order to verify whether the Elastic Server Service is up and running. If the Elastic Server Service is not running, then you cannot run any advanced clusters. So make sure the Elastic Server Service is up and running. As a last steps, if you want to run an advanced clusters or advanced mappings or advanced profiles, make sure these are the subdomains that needs to be whitelisted. So these are the subdomains where we have our Docker repositories or the Kubernetes Spark repositories. So this will be used in the time of cluster creations. Currently, I've taken one of the example of EMEA part. Similarly, you can just go to the documentation link and check based on a part what all subdomain needs to be whitelisted, and ensure like your firewalls are proxy if you're using it. Make sure like these subdomains are whitelisted. Once you have all the prerequisites ready, based on your data sets or like the use case, you can select the advanced cluster type which you wish to use and run advanced profiles. Currently, we do support fully managed AWS, Azure, GCP, or self-service clusters. That is, bring your own cluster. That is EKs or AKs are the local clusters. So, based on your use cases, based on your data set, like you can choose one of the advanced clusters, and then like you can run your profiles on that. As a demo, I'm going to show how we can run advanced complex file profiles. Before that, I'm going to show the administrator page. As I said, like, currently my org has a license with an Elastic license. That is the reason like I could see this option called advanced clusters. Once I have this advanced clusters, you get an option of like creating a new advanced cluster configurations. You can create and you can make use of these advanced clusters. So currently, as I mentioned, like we have AWS managed clusters, Google managed clusters, Azure managed clusters, self-service clusters, local clusters. So based on your use cases or data sets, make sure to select one of these cloud platforms and then configure. In order to configure these advanced clusters, the documentation has given in the docs.informatica.com. So when you go to the docs.informatica.com, it redirects you to the advanced clusters. So under the advanced clusters, you get an option of like setting up AWS or Azure or GCP or local cluster self-service clusters. And once you have it ready, it also needs, you need to associate one of the runtime for that. Currently, I have created a advanced clusters. So my advanced cluster is associated to one of the runtime, that is CDIE AWS. Now going back to the runtime environment, as I mentioned, we currently we support only Linux-based operating systems, and we support only single node agent machine. So if you look at my agent group, it has only one agent, one secure agent, and my secure agent is currently running on a Linux operating systems. And also, as I mentioned, it is mandatory that like the Elastic Server service has to be up and running in order to like run advanced clusters. So since my the runtime, that is the CDI AWS, is associated to the advanced clusters, that is Puneet's AWS CDI. So whenever I run any complex files profiles on the runtime, that is CDI AWS, so that will internally create a Kubernetes clusters on the AWS and run the complex files. So now coming to the data profiles, I have selected one of the data profiles. So currently I'm using one of the Parquet file. Like if I go to formatting, I've selected Parquet format as a option file formats. So now in order to run this profile, I can select the runtime. Currently I'm selecting the runtime, that is CDI AWS. As I mentioned, the CDI AWS is already associated to the advanced clusters. So now if I run this profile, so this profile will work, and it will create a Kubernetes clusters if the cluster is not ready. And once the cluster is ready, then it will just submit a Spark task. I have already like kind of executed the profiles in the backend. Like you would see this, the logging saying that like it is starting the Spark info Spark task, and it is waiting for cluster to start up. And once the cluster is started, then like it registers and it submits the cluster task to that. So this is how it actually, and the status is like it is in running state, right? So this is how actually the complex file profiles submits to the advanced clusters. Rather using the CDA AWS, if I go ahead and select the CDI runtime, and if I show it on administrator page, I also have a runtime called CDI. But if you look at my advanced clusters, currently the CDI runtime is not associated to any one in none of these advanced clusters, right? So now if I go and just run these profiles on this runtime, I do get that error message saying that the advanced clusters, saying that like the runtime environment is not associated to advanced clusters, choose a different runtime environment or edit the advanced cluster configurations, and the profile fails. So in order to run any complex files, as I mentioned, like make sure like you configure the advanced clusters, refer to the documentations, and based on your use cases, create advanced clusters and associate the runtime, and then like run the complex files. You can also refer to this advanced cluster creation documentations, and also there's a local cluster video KB. It can be you can also refer that, and there's a documentation for CDGC and the CDQ complex file profiles, so you can also refer to that. We would like to hear from you. Please write us to supportvideos@informatica.com or like follow us on twitter.com/infosupport. Thank you.